ADHD, PTSD, CPTSD, and narcissism. They all have one thing in common, and that is masking, which is a behavior that speaks of insecurity. But this insecurity, with all these behaviors, do have a different source. I am Marianne van Driel, and I was in my teens diagnosed with ADHD, although I'm not entirely sure that I was born with these behaviors. Personally, I think that my behaviors have been created while experiencing life underneath this umbrella of narcissism. Masking, a behavior to use for you to fit in a society that has agreed on behaviors and thoughts which are considered normal. That is a very odd thing, according to me, that is, because it speaks of a rule that says that you are not allowed to be yourself. So, what might the different sources be for masking, for using this behavior to fit into a society that has a very strange agreement on behaviors and thoughts that are being considered normal? I think that, for instance, with ADHD, uh, people use masking so that others, for instance, when you are in a public place, you are sitting with your arms crossed, or you're leaning back, or stare a little bit in the distance, or are absolutely focused on a beetle that is walking over the table, or a bird that is sitting outside. After a while, you see how people react, how others are reacting to your behavior. And people start to ask questions. Are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling sad? Are you in deep thoughts? Why? What's wrong? What's the matter? Can I help? Sometimes these moments are nice and you can express your thoughts, feelings to those you are comfortable with. But when these things happen over and over and over and over again, they start to get a little bit annoying. So, what you are doing is you start to copy the behavior of others so that people are not constantly asking those annoying questions, thinking that you are depressed or thinking that you are mentally ill. So, you start to mask in order to fit in. By the way, personally, I think that should never happen. You should be yourself, complete and full. In the moment that you are talking about PTSD or CPTSD, my apology, people can feel a particular shame and to talk about what that what their mind is occupied with, the thoughts that people have when people have PTSD, or the fears, the anxieties. People feel a particular shame. Let's imagine a person, strong, firm, knows what he or she wants. Well, at least that is what we see. This person, in our imagination, also has a job that is protecting others in one way or another. So, because this person has this job people look up to and ask advice or help to, this feeling of being ashamed, of having a particular anxiety, or nightmares, waking up in the middle of the night screaming, this shame is popping up. And In the moment that people feel ashamed, they try to hide it, or in other words, masking. You put away everything that is inside you that should come out in one way or another. Masking to fit in into a society that has agreed on thoughts and behaviors that is being considered normal. It is odd. And, in my personal opinion, absolutely wrong. Now, with narcissism, this is completely different. Narcissists, they do mask, but for a complete different reason. Yes, there's a particular form of insecurity, but this insecurity is not coming from the inside out. This insecurity comes from the outside in. A narcissist finds his or her security in having a beautiful car, a big house, a very nice job. Everybody is looking up to him or her. By means of this insecurity that is coming from the outside in, if I do not have that car, if I do not have that particular job, if I do not have that fantastic and beautiful home, in the moment that they do not have this material stuff, that people say, wow, you are amazing. In the moment that they do not have this, they think and feel that they are a nobody. So, by means of this insecurity that is coming from the outside in with a narcissist, they start masking. But not only masking, in the moment that they start to have this idea of becoming a nobody, not being important enough, not that people are not looking up to them enough according to their mind, they start to dumb down everybody around them, criticize them. And one of the things that a narcissist is pretty good in is creating a false narrative. Over time, they have mastered these behaviors, and so unfortunately, a lot of people start to believe or are believing instantly what they are telling. Only after a while, they understand that these narratives were absolutely false and sometimes even based on other people's experiences. So, as I told you in the beginning of this video, I was diagnosed with ADHD in my teens, but like I also said, I'm not entirely sure that I was born with this. Personally, I think that my behaviors have been created while experiencing life underneath this umbrella of narcissism. Now, this ADHD behavior that I'm showing, meaning I forget stuff. I can talk very, very quickly. I can focus immensely on something that is fascinating me. Now, how did I got this under control? In a way, this behavior of rapidly speaking and memorizing stuff, better said, not to forget anything. And this is a very dangerous thing that I'm going to say because the narcissists who are watching this video will instantly say, you see, you need me. This is the reason why I need to control you and why that you should listen to me because you are not able to do it by yourself. But frankly, living under the umbrella of narcissism and being surrounded by this behavior or these behaviors frequently, I learned how to mask. And no, it is not that by means of the narcissist I got this under control. By means of this mental abuse, by the criticism, and by the sadistic behaviors and comments these individuals make, I learned how to overthink every single word before I pronounce them. This masking that I'm showing has a clinical term, and that is walking on eggshells. It is simply inserted in one's life to survive. So, that were a few of the many reasons why people are using masking. In the past years, I had the privilege to speak and meet with people who are, in one way or another, using this masking just to fit in into a society that has agreed on behaviors and thought expressions considered to be normal. In the moment that you understand and recognize this form of masking, this hiding of people, their personalities, that is the moment that you, as a therapist or as a counselor, should figure out what is the reason for that particular person to use this form of masking in a comfortable and relaxed environment.